You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Oilers Bruins? Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day? I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. Let's get into it with the lead. Who put all these damn question marks in my script, Liam?
Is our new intern.
Yeah, it was our new intern. He's really dropping the ball. Welcome into Oilers Nation every day, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Load up on some fresh Edmonton gear. Maybe get ready for the NFL playoffs this weekend and rep your favorite team, Liam.
Your team's playing this weekend?
Sunday.
Oh, mine doesn't play. We got to buy.
Hot take: buys are overrated. I get to watch my football team play one more game.
I get to watch my team be healthy, which is, as a Lions fan, is very nice.
Their injuries are so bad, you could argue the 1 week's not going to do much.
Oh no, it totally will.
Aiden Hutchinson,
David Montgomery is going to be back.
No,
he literally said, "They said, hey, do you think you'll play?"
He thought he was going to play last week.
Yeah, they said, "Do you think you'll play in the wild card round?"
I thought he blew out his MCL.
He did. He did blow it out. They said, "Are you excited? Would you be excited to play in the wild card round?" And he said, "We won't be playing in the wild card round, but I'll be excited to go." And smiled. He's totally going to be back in the divisional round.
All right. Anyways, the show's a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Edmonton Oilers looking to extend their winning streak to 4 games as they roll into Boston. A bit of an interesting road trip here for our Oily boys. One that started out in Seattle, spans all the way out to the Eastern time zone for a game against the Boston Bruins, and will wrap up in the Central time zone Saturday when they take on Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks, a matchup with Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins sandwiched in the middle there. So a 4-game road trip that they've already started with a win, and they're playing pretty good right now as well. So Edmonton playing well, going up against a Bruins team that's been wildly inconsistent this season. And I honestly think that statement applies post-coaching hire too, because they're 4-4-2 in their last 10 games. They haven't been playing great hockey. DJ Bean from Chaos is going to join us in about 10-15 minutes time. He's going to tell us a little bit more about the Boston Bruins, what's been going on there, and also his love for the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to talk a little bit of trade deadline in a little bit as well, but it is a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. As, like I said, Liam, Edmonton looking to keep the heater going. What are your expectations for tonight?
I think there's a couple of places on this road trip, and maybe just one, because who did they just play the other day?
Seattle.
This was the weird road trip we were talking about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry, I was
3 time zones. They go coast to coast, then back to the middle.
An odd one, to say the least. My expectations are that they'll win against Chicago. I think that's especially with the way Chicago went earlier in the season. Boston, I think no matter what, is always going to be a tough place to visit. They've still got some great players, of course, and we saw it when we played them the other week. It was a tight game. The Oilers, kind of took the reins and went after them a little bit and ended up coming out with 3-2 winners, but still guys like Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy still like top players in the NHL. So I'm expecting actually a pretty tight game today, despite what the stats have probably tell us about going to, what is it, TD Gardens?
All 3 of the Oilers' next games start at 5 o'clock.
Oh, there's nothing worse than that. As
you're
men of content,
it
is very difficult to get everything out in a timely manner without crossing over things. So it drives me nuts when this happens.
Can I give you
in 4 hours?
Yeah,
actually, that's insane. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's in 4 hours right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. A little hack for you, everybody watching, even those of you who work normal jobs. You're going to be tight.
Yeah.
You can maybe get off work at what, 3:30, 4? I don't know when normal jobs get dismissed. You're going to be driving home as fast as you can. Stop and get Oodle Noodle, or get it on the delivery app and have it brought right to your house. Pull up to your house as the Oodle Noodle arrives. That's the time hack today. You don't have time to cook.
What are you going to get?
Tokyo glazed double beef, playa. And that's what I say to the person at the counter too, in that exact phrase. And they usually go, Tyler, stop saying that.
I am
1,000-year flavor is my new favorite one.
What is that?
I don't know, but it's got a lot of flavor.
Thousands
of
years of flavors. Green onion cake. I went the other week and I just got green onion cake, spring rolls, and salad rolls, I think they're called.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Just apps.
Just an appy night. And if the green onion cake's fresh, there might be nothing better in this entire world than a fresh green onion cake.
With that sweet sauce or the
No, the fish sauce, isn't it? Oh
No, I'm not a fish sauce.
That's
sweet chili sauce.
Sweet chili sauce.
No, I'm just straight
You're raw dog in the green onion cakes.
right in there for free.
Dude.
Yeah, they're amazing. Don't mock it till you try it, folks. Let me know what you think tonight.
Just raw dogging them. That's crazy.
My family's watching.
That's crazy, bro. Let's get into the YouTube chat.
Yeah,
Raw dog, and I could raw dog a few of these bad boys. Nation Beers for our friends at Odd Company. 2 locations in Edmonton, downtown Edmonton, and the Ritchie location. A crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for any day. Why not enjoy one tonight while you sit with your feet up enjoying your oodle noodle? Let's get into what you're all saying over in the YouTube chat. I love how all fired up our boy Austin is. All right, Ty, fired up. Morning, boys. It's game day, oil country. Time to, can't say that word. Well, actually, we can. I won't be here all show, but we'll be here for pre-gaming. Reminder, in 4 hours. I thought this one was interesting if we're going to just peel away from the Oilers for a quick second. From Torby. I hope this Ovi thing is over soon. It's getting old.
What's getting old about it?
So I thought that earlier in the year when like every single time you watched any broadcast, it was like, when's Ovi going to break? And like, we've been dealing with this question now for like a year. When's Ovi going to break the record? When's Ovi going to break the record? All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of was on your side for a bit, Torby. And I was like, God, we're going to have to deal with this talk for so long. And then I kind of like zoomed out a little bit. It's the all-time goal mark.
It's pretty.
We might never see it get
thing.
broken again.
So when did Gretzky break it? 94? No, it was
97, I think. I think it was right around my birthday, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really? Happy birthday to you. So what? How long ago is that? Like 40 years? 30 years. Almost 30 years ago. This is not going to happen anytime soon. Like, who's the next closest guy? Like, Matthews is probably the guy that could get close to it, I would think, over his career. But I don't know. Sometimes you just got to sit back and let it happen for this kind of stuff. Like, it's an historic day. Will be an historic day in NHL history. And also, too, like, what would you rather them talking about? The collapse of the Rangers and Buffalo Sabres again? Because quite frankly, that is terrible news.
Yeah, that's boring.
So I'm quite happy that it's an exciting moment because we don't see a lot of records broken in the NHL. You know, like Gretzky kind of just took them over and was like, I'm taking them all with me. No one can have them.
Gretzky broke Howe's NHL record at Edmonton Northlands Coliseum on October 15th, 1989.
That can't be it.
But then this one says, wait.
I see what he means. So he broke it then, but then obviously it ended when
his last goal
was scored. Yeah. So that's when the official record was set.
Yeah, I feel you. So yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, Torby, but also like the perspective. Also, this should be good for the sport. And this is why I like that ESPN has NHL rights because they have like a rooting interest in getting the ratings up for this thing.
Yeah,
them having Ovi when he gets within 10, that should lead SportsCenter every day. Like it's good to have this kind of chase. Do you remember Barry Bonds and his home run chase?
I didn't even know what baseball was back then.
SportsCenter every morning.
I remember there were a couple of times like Sportsnet would cut to Giants games for Bonds at bats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember there were a few times like it was like somewhat late at night. I'd be like getting ready for bed because we would have been super young, AB. And like my dad would be like, hey, like Barry Bonds is hitting, like come watch.
756. The number's so ingrained in my brain.
Yeah.
So when they were doing that, did he just need like one more?
Yeah. It was like when he was tied, or I think when he was like within one, like him going to tie it was like they were cutting every at bat and whatever. All that.
So whose record did he break? Not
Hank
a big
Aaron.
baseball guy.
Hank Aaron.
Oh.
Shout out Aaron.
Bill Guerin was just what went into
and he's
head.
one back of Babe Ruth in the category of.
Oh my God.
Nah, I'm kidding. We're not going there today. Not going there today. What else you guys got going on in the chat? Capitals also having a good season as a fun tidbit. Yeah, they're playing really, really well.
They're first in the East. They might be first in the NHL.
No, Vegas is running away with
first in the East. Yes.
Yeah, right. First in the East with a 700 points percentage. The only team in the Eastern Conference with a points percentage that is 700 or better.
But do you believe in them?
Honestly, kind of.
I don't believe in any of these teams in the Eastern Conference. Actually, Florida. I take that back. There's a couple of teams.
You don't believe in Jersey?
No. I don't know what it is about them. It's just I have that feel, and I've had this feel about the Oilers in the past too. And it's like when they got to the Western Conference Finals a few years ago, everybody knew that was the end of the road. Like there's a bit of belief from like the actual fan side of you. It was like, maybe they get one and see what happens. And then you watch the first game, you're like, oh, they are not coming away with anything from this. But like, you look through those teams and like Toronto, yeah, maybe they're different style now, so I think that's something to believe in. Like Florida, obviously, is Florida, but like I don't know the Metro. Like I just don't see it.
Can I give you, if the playoffs ended today, we're sorted by points percentage because that's the right way to do it. If the playoffs started today, here's the matchups.
All over.
I'll do East, then I'll do
Okay,
West.
sounds good.
You tell me how many of them you think would be good series. Like you'd want to watch. You'd be intrigued.
Okay.
Toronto, Tampa.
I'd be in.
Washington, Ottawa. The Chikrin Bowl. Chikrin Jensen. Revenge series.
Of course.
That would lead Sports Center. I'd be somewhat intrigued. There's something about the playoff atmosphere in Washington that's kind of sick. And OV being back in the playoff or being in the playoffs is cool.
And also too, like Ottawa being a Canadian team,
Yeah.
put me at a 0.5 point for that one.
Okay.
So I'm at 1.5.
Okay, this one's probably a no. Carolina, Jersey.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't watch a
chance.
second of it. Florida, Boston.
I actually wouldn't watch.
Florida would probably wipe the floor with
And
them, but
Boston, not an exciting team. I just don't enjoy them. But
So
do you know what? 3 years in a row they would have faced each other, so maybe
Yeah.
it would become exciting.
all right, in the West.
So that's 1.5 from the East.
1.5 from the East. Winnipeg, if the Vegas would be the 1 seed in the West, they would get Vancouver. It'd be an interesting series.
It would be all right, and I think it'd be more invested because it's Pacific
Yeah.
Division. So 0.5 point. We're at 2.
Okay. Winnipeg gets Dallas.
I don't enjoy watching Winnipeg play. I mean, the
Okay.
series on paper is exciting, but we all know Dallas is winning. in
Mini
5.
Colorado.
Not a chance.
That'd be a bloodbath.
I wouldn't watch a second of it.
LA Edmonton.
I'd be forced to, but it'd be over quick, so it'd be fine. So let's say we're at 3.
So you're not in on some of the matchups.
No, I don't know. Maybe I don't watch enough of like outside of hockey outside of Edmonton enough. Sorry, but like I don't know. Colorado is quite an exciting team. Maybe that series I would give a full mark to. But Minnesota, like I just find them very boring. Even though they got some great players. Like Kaprizov is excited. Matt Boldy's good. That's kind of it, right?
Yeah,
I
fair.
mean, it could be Flurry. It's Flurry's last run.
Mm.
Well, it will be a Flurry's last run, but
I do think it's interesting in the West too, and this is something I talked about today with Frank on Daily Faceoff Live, a daily 30-minute talk show you can find on Daily Faceoff on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. Every day it's 30 minutes of myself and Frank Saravalli just ripping around the league. And today we discussed Frank's latest trade targets board, Liam, which brings us to our Sherwood Ford Giant question for the day. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant game day here on the show, brought to you by who else but Sherwood Ford the Giant. How many more times can I say the name in this ad read? You're about to find out, because with Sherwood Ford the Giant, you never have to visit the dealership again for your car service. With Nation Valet Service, they come, pick up your vehicle wherever you're at in the city, drive it back to Sherwood Ford the Giant, do all the fix up with their Sherwood Ford the Giant experts, and then bring it right on back to you. Sherwood Ford the Giant, right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Here's your Giant question. How many names on Frank Saravalli's latest trade targets board? Side note, Frank will join the show tomorrow to discuss this more in depth. How many names on Frank Saravalli's trade targets board do you think would be good fits on the Oilers? Let's start at the top. We'll go in chunks of 5, Liam. The top 5.
Sorry, just for when you say good fits, do you just mean like play style, or you included money in this a little bit too?
It's everything like
in general.
good realistic fits. Like you think there's a realistic chance the Oilers can get them.
Yeah.
You think the acquisition cost and all that is good, and they fill a need for the Oilers.
Okay, cool.
First 5. Brock Nelson, Yanni Gord, Taylor Hall, Ryan Lindgren, and Dylan Cousins. Just right off the jump, I think Ryan Lindgren is not that good. If he's not good enough to defend on the Rangers, I don't think he's good enough to defend here. Lindgren comes in, pending UFA, cap at a 4.5, and he's a left shot. Not interested in Lindgren. The term on Dylan Cousins likely makes that a non-starter, and the cap hit, you're not going to be able to afford that. Brock Nelson, I think, stays south of the border, and if he's the premier winger, the Oilers don't have the assets to get him. So that leaves 2 in my mind in Yanni Gordon, Taylor Hall.
I don't think I'd be in on either of them. I know on Friday's show, I think it was Friday, you started yelling at me. It was definitely Friday. It was like 12:47 p.m.
You read it in your journal?
I did.
Today at 12:46, Tyler yelled at me about Adam Henrique and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
I will walk back on that decision that there probably isn't a premier left winger you can replace Nuge with. Like I was kind of thinking Frank Vetrano, but then he became a financial expert and signed that crazy deal, so he's not coming. But I would still consider a 3C. Brock Nelson, centerman, correct? Bit of both.
He can play center of the wing, yeah.
He would be awesome. I do think for only a few months he would strongly consider coming to Edmonton. And so for conversation too, he has a 16 no trade list. But for example, say Edmonton is not on that list, but the Edmonton call and the Islanders consider him like, hey, would you go? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he would be a target of mine. I think you could just trade that first round pick and just say, Philly, you get next year's and just kind of figure it out from there. I would do him. And he's the only person in
no trade list. Wow.
Yeah, he's the only person in the top 5 I would not do. And also too, I like what Tyler Mulick said there too. Like Nelson 2C, you can run McDavid and Draisaitl. That's not something I would do every time, but I do think it's better than putting Nuge at that 2C when you go to that kind of strategy.
I'd be intrigued by Yanni Gourde. What I don't like is that he shoots left. What I like is he has playoff experience, 23 team trade list, which could complicate things a little bit. 5.1 million. So there's a couple of things there. Either one, you got to get him twice retained, or two, Evander Kane's out to the playoffs and then you can still make that work. I worry with him being this high and with the type of player he is. Like Maynard, I think was the one in the chat who said, I hate him. And like, yeah, I hate him too, but I would love to have him for a playoff run. He's a rat. Like that'd be good. Him and Corey Perry would be like a fun fourth line to kind of watch.
Drag you in the battle a little bit.
Even if Yanni Gourde's on your third line, I think he'd be a good defensive third line center, right? And I'm actually not 100% sure what his defensive metrics is, but that's the mold he kind of fits, right? It's like a bottom 6 centerman and a good third line center potentially. With him being this high on the list, I don't think the Oilers can pay that kind of price. Like if the interest is going to be that high, and I honestly think it might be with, again, the prototype of player we're dealing with here, or archetype of player we're dealing with here. I don't think you can touch Yanni Gourde. Taylor Hall would have to come twice retained for me to consider it, but that'd be like, I mean, hey, we know that at the deadline last year, Eberle,
they were close.
Eberle was really close. And maybe it's something that's not talked about all that publicly, but like if Eberle didn't get that extension, it was Edmonton.
And it was not agreed to, I guess, but like that was pretty much like, hey, you can go here, I'll go here, I'll stay here.
So I mean, I don't think the Oilers are against any sort of a reunion with these kinds of guys. And someone in the chat was like, he didn't like playing with McDavid. No, he liked playing with Connor McDavid.
And also too, that was so long ago.
Yeah,
like
Taylor Hall's got a kid now.
People grow up. Like, believe it or not.
Yeah, look at how much we've grown up recently. Earlier in the show, we kept saying raw dogging, and now we've matured. We're talking about the trade targets
Lance
list.
sent us that video of everyone saying happy birthday to him, and I look like a different man, and I'm pretty sure it's my mustache that changed me.
It is your mustache.
Just for you were saying what Yanni Gourde's defensive numbers. He's been on the ice for 22 goals against at 5-on-5 this season, which is a 10th best on 10th, right in the middle of the pack for the Kraken. So he's fine.
Relatively speaking, he's okay. Yeah. If Taylor Hall comes twice retained, or if Evander Kane's out to the playoffs and you just get Taylor Hall once retained and it costs you a mid-round pick or a middling prospect, maybe. Also, Evander Kane's coming back. Do you need more left wingers? Probably not. Yeah. So again, in that top 5, there's a couple guys that are like nice to haves, but no one that I look at as a slam dunk fit. Let's move to the next group of 5. Joel Farabee, Bowen Byram, Ivan Provorov, Brandon Tanev, and Rasmus Ristolainen, who is a Flyer.
Yeah,
former Sabre.
I choose to remember him as a Sabre.
Me too.
To me,
my favorite memories of Ristolainen come as a Sabre.
Yeah, when he sucked. On Philly, he's gotten a little bit better. Interesting. Actually, in Philly, he sucked worse for a bit and then got a little bit better.
What a roller coaster.
I don't know if I want Rasmus Ristolainen, though. He is a right shot, but 2 more years at $5.1 million. If it doesn't work, you're stuck with him. Blah.
What would you rather have, Ristolainen as a right shot in the top 4, or just Brett Kulak in your top 4 on his offload?
And then you go get a lefty and you play him with Emerson. And
it's way easier to do it that way. I actually barely like any of these players.
I like Provorov.
I like him too, but if we're looking at this, I'm like, okay, top 10. Well, we like 2 of maybe 3 of them.
Provorov's also a lefty that can play the right side. So, like, he gives you the ability to be flexible, which I kind of like.
The rest of them, though, like Joel Farabee, no thanks.
Bowen Byram's a pipe dream. I don't think the Oilers have the assets to get that deal done.
Brandon Tanev, I just don't think the Oilers need him.
Yeah.
Although I think it's more likely that he leaves Seattle this spring than Yanni Gourde. Is March spring? March is spring.
March is spring.
Yeah.
When is no?
March 21st spring?
Late winter.
Reese, Google it. Yeah. What's the first day of spring? I like this actually. Reese can be our research guy.
Good. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
continuing the show till you
we
find
will
the
wait.
answer.
March 20th. Every year.
It's spring.
Maybe. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Should we? Yeah. And Gord says that's probably true. Yaremchuk Byron wouldn't be cheap. Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's continue along. Should we get out to the Star Mechanical guest line? I see a little someone down in the preview window there. Oh, yeah, he's fired up. Let's go. Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, emergency service. They do it all, and they do it well. As we welcome our good friend, DJ Bean, to the program. DJ, how you doing?
Hello, my baby boys. How are you?
We're great, DJ. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. You ask how I am? I'm 12 hours removed, 14 hours removed from having dinner with Pete Blackburn, Gene Principe, and Bob Stauffer. So respectfully, how do you think I am?
What a dinner table. Holy shit.
It broke my heart that nobody came over. It was in the North End in Boston. It broke my heart that nobody came over and was like, excuse me, are you Bob Stauffer? It would have been the best. Yeah, Pete's here. He says that the people in Boston don't know puck, but it was the best. Great conversation. Great seeing the guys. It's an Italian place, so Gene got to speak Italian. It was a privilege to dine with those gentlemen.
So what did he tell you? Give us the juice.
Gene, I think, was just like friendship building, and Bob was like a lot of what we always talk about, just like the NHL and funny stories from our various past lives. I'll tell you what.
Did you get any? Was there a U of A Golden Bears reference from Bob at any point? Any context?
Possibly. We discussed, I think you'll have to wait till next week, but there is a notable former Oiler who we sat down with when we were at the Winter Classic who might play for one of the teams in the win. No, actually, you know what? That sounds like I was saying Taylor Hall. It's not Taylor Hall. We already sat down with him. Dylan Holloway. We have him coming up on the show. So we were discussing what a great chap he is. But yeah, lovely time. Great food, great people.
I love it. Oil in action night. You going to be boots on the ground? You going to the game?
Oh, yeah. Pete and I are going. Our friend Nate has amazing seats. And at the beginning of the season, when he was figuring out all of his seat situations, what he was doing with each game, he just sent us his Oilers tickets. And we were like, it's going to be the best. Pete's going to jump on Bob's show, Oilers Now. You ever heard of it? Chad, get on there. So we're going to make the rounds. It's going to be the best. And as I'm sure you know, the last 3 times these teams have met over these past 2 seasons, these games have been awesome. All 3 of the games have gone into overtime. It's been an absolute party. So hopefully we see a good one.
Yeah, Oilers have won 4 straight in Boston as well, I believe. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Last time we had you on was in November, and the Oilers were just kind of starting to turn things around a little bit. And now you look at them, I think basically since we had you on, by points percentage, the Oilers have been the best or second best team in the NHL. When you look at the way things have turned around here, what's the biggest story on this team that stands out to you? What's the biggest positive with this group right now?
I mean, my favorite thing this entire season has to be that Darnell Nurse has kind of gone back to Darnell Nurse or even surpassed what Darnell Nurse has been. That's amazing. Right now, I love that they're at a point where maybe they're just mixing and matching their lines for the sake of saying nothing is going to surprise us in the offseason. No matter what combination of guys have to play together, we will be able to say, hey, Skinner and Hyman, we need you together. Okay, yeah, they've done that before. Henrique will now have played with everybody. Nuge will now have played with everybody. I think that's at least my read on what seems to be going on with the team right now, because they know they're playing well enough that they're going to get the results anyway. This seems like a regular season in which they're really, really, really preparing for a long postseason run. So I'm happy with what I see so far. And I'll also say it's coming with Jeff Skinner at some point. It's just going to. So relax, folks. I know it's not been fun. That signing has blown up in their faces so far, but it's coming at some point.
But I agree with you. I think it's going to come, and I'm kind of over talking about him in like a negative way, because we all know he's a good player and he's just not worked so far. But he got a healthy scratch the other day and came back, and I think he's had points in back-to-back, and obviously had that really good goal the other night too.
Yeah, and the other thing too that's interesting is, like, Jeff Skinner has 7 goals. He's 5th on the team in goals, and he is somehow turned into the whipping boy versus compare him to some other guys. Connor Brown's a darling. What a bounce back season. He's playing great. Vasily Podkolzin has 4 goals and has somehow stayed stapled to Leon Draisaitl all year. It's deserved, but it's interesting the way, and I guess it just says more about the expectations, but like Jeff Skinner scoring 7 goals in 38 games. If he ends the year with, call it 16 goals for $3.5 million playing on your third line, you're actually probably pretty happy with that.
Yeah, but it's opportunity cost. And ultimately, it's like, who would you rather have, Jeff Skinner or Dylan Holloway? I think that maybe in the postseason, Skinner's contribution will be such that you say, hey, it's a good thing they signed this guy. And obviously, we love Jeff Skinner. But so far, Holloway's been awesome in St. Louis. And even you want to say Warren Fogle, like some of the players that they missed out on or chose to part with have looked pretty good, and Skinner's still finding his way. I think that at some point in the postseason, Skinner's going to score that type of backbreaking goal that's going to make an opponent quit, because Skinner will have been quiet and the other team will hang with the Oilers and do everything right, and the Oilers will still win because they have too many guys. I think that ultimately will be where Jeff Skinner makes some noise, because the guy could forget how to skate and he's still a good goal scorer. So it's going to come at some point. And as you said, the numbers aren't so bad. They're just not what you'd expect when you sign a guy who has scored 1 million goals in his career.
Yeah. People forget, and I brought this up a ton on the show too, like Connor Brown was essentially good in the playoffs for like 2 rounds. He did not play against LA and Vancouver.
Yeah, and then he came into the lineup and was great.
And was unreal. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Connor Brown. I think he's done really, really well. And after he scored that goal against Washington last season, he kind of turned it around. But I want to flip it to Boston quickly. Jeremy Swayman, obviously, big conversation in the offseason. I was looking at some of the goals he was allowing recently. Like, what's kind of the deal with him at the moment? .891 save percentage on the season.
Yeah, he's been bad this season. And obviously not all of Boston's defensemen are healthy, but Jeremy Swayman's the caliber of goalie that is supposed to make up for Hampus Lindholm being out and things like that. He's just been bad, and it stinks because I supported him in whatever you want to call this contract negotiation. I think really a goal that's been discussed a lot in Boston when people point to what has happened to Jeremy Swayman is the Zach Hyman downtown goal that was scored in the last time these two teams met, because we all know where Zach Hyman scores his goals. And if he scores a goal from more than 8 inches away, people look around and say, hey, was that a good goal to allow? And in Swayman's case, in that game, it wasn't at that time. He's just not been himself. And I don't know if it's because he didn't get to have a full preseason, or if it's because there's maybe some new pressure with having to be the guy now that Linus Ullmark is gone. But I think that ultimately Swayman is a really, really good goaltender, top 10-ish in the league, and that's maybe not this season, but that's where he's going to end up for the duration of this contract. The team just needed him to be a lot better with the changes they made. They needed him to become a clear-cut number 1 goalie, and then get to the postseason when you're only playing one guy, and then, okay, repeat what you did in the first 2 rounds last year. But at the rate they're going right now, who knows if they even get there.
Obviously, you're an oil man through and through, but I have one more Bruins question for you since you're in that market. What's changed for the Bruins since they made that coaching swap? Like, has there been any sort of like a tangible stylistic difference to the way they play, or was that move purely a wake-up call?
Pete, I mean, they've scored more. Pete said that they're more defensively responsible after completely bleeding opportunities early in the season. Swayman had a good little run there too, and then once he got it, it was that Winnipeg game where he had the worst game of his life, and it's like, okay, well, I guess things are back to terrible now.
Fair. And the Oilers looking for 4 straight here tonight. I had one more Edmonton one for you. Oh, we had an interesting debate yesterday. And again, you guys are a national show. You cover every kind of corner of the league. And I'm intrigued to get your take on this one. Matthias Ekholm, we got a great inbox question over the weekend. I threw it to Louis DeBrusque yesterday as well. But it was like, okay, is Matthias Ekholm a guy that doesn't get enough love for what he does. Like, he'll never win the Norris because the scoring's never there and he's not, elite in every facet of the game. But you look at what he does on this Oilers blue line, the fact he does put up a decent amount of offense. He's so responsible defensively. Where would you put him in your rankings of NHL defensemen? Is he top 15? Is he top 20? Is he top 30? Where do you come out on him?
I would definitely say top 20, and I would say maybe one of the top 10 underrated players in the NHL, which is crazy because the Oilers get so much attention, but the Oilers get so much attention because of two players, and then a third that is discussed in Stu Skinner as to like, hey, what is Stu Skinner? Is he good? Is he bad or whatever? And Bouchard gets a lot of love, but Pete and I say all the time, make no mistake, I'm sure you agree, the number one defenseman on the Oilers is Mattias Ekholm. And my fear long-term with the Oilers is how are you going to replace Mattias Ekholm? I'm a Bouchard guy to an extent, which is to say I love Evan Bouchard. Defensively, I want more out of him. I'm not going to expand on that because that ends up being a pain in the ass conversation. But I think most of us can agree there are moments where we want Evan Bouchard to be a little more sound, but it's a sacrifice you make when you get one of the true elite offensive players at any position in the NHL. That's what Evan Bouchard is. You need to have a great overall defenseman on your top pair if you really like with that guy, if you want to be the cup contender that the Oilers are. So my long-term fear with the Oilers has always been, how are they going to one day replace Mattias Ekholm? So yes, I mean, I hold Ekholm in the highest of high regards.
And to be fair, that process of eventually replacing Mattias Ekholm probably starts at this deadline. And I think it's probably why we see the Oilers in the next 6 to 8 weeks here start to get linked to some guys who have term on their deal. Like, I do think they need to be thinking, okay, Mattias Ekholm is 34 years old. He is not getting any younger. He's aging really, really well. This isn't even to say that next year or even the year after we're gonna see some sort of like crazy sharp decline in Mattias Ekholm's game. But the Oilers do need to think about down the road a little bit. Maybe at this deadline you don't go after and I mean, I don't even like the name David Savard. I don't think he could help you win this year, but maybe you look at Keandre Millers and guys who are in that younger demographic who you can sit there and go, okay, as Ekholm maybe trends down, the guy we're bringing in is trending up.
I mean, I saw the trade candidates that you flashed up there. Shout out the Buffalo Sabres because it was just the Buffalo Sabres organization. I don't know how this could happen, but if I'm Edmonton, like, I don't know what it would take to get this guy, Bo Byram. Get me that guy because that's a guy who I think could eventually long-term be a number one defenseman. Sean, you'll know better than me as I continue to talk to people off mic. This is a guy that potentially a reason he could want out of Buffalo is that he wants to be a number one guy.
That's what the report said. And I mean, I heard you guys mention that you might not have the assets to acquire a guy like Bo Byram, but I'm not sure. I don't know how much leverage Buffalo actually has in the situation, if that's the truth. So it might not cost quite as much as you would think.
And we'll take him.
Yeah, I mean, part of the issue is Edmonton's number one prospect is now Matt Savoy, who Buffalo clearly didn't want.
Yeah, fair. How is he doing, by the way? Do you know?
Awesome.
He's getting hot. He's been really good the last kind of like 10 games down in Baco. I don't think he gets called up this year, but again, the Oilers desperately needed some sort of prospects in their system, and Savoy gives them that, at least something to look forward to, because things are bleak. And that's part of the problem, I guess, too, is like they have one first-round pick in the next 2 drafts. So I think they have 1 second-rounder. Do you get Bo Byram for just those picks? I don't know. And then are you confident you can sign him? Because what's Bo Byram going to cost this summer as an RFA? Couple that with what you have to pay Bouchard, and it's like, are you going to pay those two guys like a combined? We could be talking 16 mil for those two combined.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a drug guy, but I'm going to need to be on some dose of something that just keeps me mostly out of it for whatever the Evan Bouchard contract negotiation is. Like, wake me up when that's done and just tell me what the number is. I'm probably going to make a face because it sounds like I don't like Evan Bouchard. But at some point, all these things are going to add up, and I'm worried about what long-term this defense will look like. Shout out Ty Emberson coming around. Shout out Brett Kulak. I mean, really, like the defense for the Oilers has been, they've gotten it together very well, I will say. So I'll take that. But long-term, I do want that number one all-around type player. So find a way of getting that guy. without allocating all your money to 4 people. I'm sure the chat's roasting me because I've taken Bouchard's name in vain.
No, people are kind of with you.
Maynard has a great idea.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
that's
not that
wrong
one. That's
comment.
Barney.
Maynard, hear me out. Deferred money. You guys do great stuff on What Chaos. You had Mr. Deferred Money, Frank Petrano, on the show today. How did he handle the tax evasion accusations?
Great. He was like, it's what I have done is legal. So he didn't say make all the jokes you want, but we just made all the jokes we wanted, and he didn't hang up the phone. So, like, I'm very interested in that. I have no idea how interested the audience is in it, but an Ohtani type of contract coming to the NHL just really got my interest because it's a hard cap, and typically the NHL is the no funny business league. That's what NHL stands for. And with the Savard retirement contracts and everything, they were like, okay, we're not letting you do that anymore. And I don't know, like, this could help Canadian teams if you're allowed to do stuff like this. So yeah, maybe to that commenter who said, hear me out, deferred money, maybe that can just be we just say, okay, deferred money, and that solves everybody's problems. It's like teams will be like, LTIR, just do something with LTIR and you'll have enough money to get that guy.
Where it'll be interesting is if someone like a Connor McDavid does it.
Yeah.
And like, if you go to Connor McDavid, because again, that deferred money doesn't count on the cap the same way. I'm not even 100% sure how the calculation could work. Maybe this is a question for our friends over at Puckpedia, but like, if you went to Connor McDavid and or Connor McDavid came to you and was like, okay, I want X amount of dollars guaranteed on my next contract, but I want the best chance at winning a Stanley Cup. Is there some sort of a calculation where the Oilers get Connor McDavid for like a $11 million cap hit on his next deal? Because he just goes, you know what? I've made my money. I make my money elsewhere through endorsements and whatnot. New McDonald's commercial with Austin Matthews, blah, blah, blah. I'm okay waiting to get paid if it means I have a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup in my career. Like, where it'll get interesting is if the high end guys start doing it.
So I want to do some digging on that because I don't know the answer to it. I asked is this going to keep happening? Are players going to do this? And the answer I got was McDavid specifically was said like as the hypothetical, but like McDavid and Shesterkin, like you're not going to see those types of contracts probably do this because those guys can just get it all in bonuses and get really amazing deals, and they get the money, the real cold hard cash. But they maybe more Frank Vetrano types will get it, which is a guy who's 30 and is proven and isn't having the season that they wanted to have in a contract year. So maybe those types of, I don't want to say like middle players, but like upper middle all-star-ish players who are at maybe a vulnerable spot. Maybe they get to do that to kind of sweeten the deal and make it worth their while.
DJ and Pete do amazing work on What Chaos. Do you have one more?
I have one more.
Okay, give one more.
DJ, you're an American man.
Famously.
I'm not English. I'm English, not Canadian or
Great point.
American. But the United States just won the World Juniors, and Canada crapped their pants, to put it politely. How close do you think the gap is now between the two nations, or do you think the U.S. has passed them?
I mean, I kind of like. I really like the U.S. in Four Nations. Although if Binnington plays well, then who knows? Then it's even. But right now, I mean, the proof is sort of in the pudding with World Juniors, although it's unfair because the best young Canadian players are in the NHL right now. So really, can you say that? I'll sheepishly say scoreboard and be like, well, USA did win, so you have to give it to them. But we all know that that's not totally on the level.
Yeah, that's kind of my argument too, especially at the World Junior level. Is like, okay, if Canada had Celebrini and Connor Bedard, what's happening? The US best player not there was what, Will Smith?
I think, yeah.
Right?
Wait, last year or this year?
This year.
Because Will Smith could have technically played, Bedard and Celebrini could have technically played.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but man, Ryan Leonard, that guy's a dog.
He's good.
Cole Hudson, a lot of good Americans out there, folks. And meanwhile, you guys won't even play our guy, the teddy bear crusher, Michael Misa. What's wrong with you?
The selection was a joke.
There's such a conversation around Hockey Canada right now, and Michael Misa not being there, Beckett Seneca, but also too, like, Canada still had a great team and were just so poorly coached, which gives a ton of credit to, I think, David Carl, who was the head coach of the US team. He have 2 national championships in the last few years at kind of the NCAA level, and then 2 world championships with the USA as well at the World Juniors. Like, he's unreal.
Oh yeah. Are you two, by the way, coming to Four Nations?
I will not be.
So I'll see you there.
Yes, you will see us there. I'm pumped for that tournament, man. I think that's going to be an absolute blast. And we were talking about it yesterday, so we should ask you, as folks who are based in Canada, and some of you even Canadian, does the World Juniors put extra stakes on Four Nations for you now?
I don't think it puts extra stakes on it for me, but I mean, whatever, the chat's going to hate me for this. I think there is a very fun storyline of the USA winning Four Nations and then getting to the Olympics and how much better the rivalry could be. Like, if the best outcome, if you want the most entertaining Olympics possible in 2026, the best outcome as a hockey fan is the USA wins a heated Four Nations championship in Boston, and Canada's looking for revenge come Olympic time. That would be the most fun way for the next 14 months to play out.
Oh, I'm into that. And I'll be honest, I'm rooting for USA. I'm rooting for everything good for Zach Werenski this season, man. He's having an insane season. We want to see him. I don't know what the Four Nations trophy will look like, but hopefully we see it in his hands, and it'll be an absolute party. And then he'll have to say goodbye to his teammate, Ivan Provorov, because he's going to be traded to Edmonton. So there you go.
He might be the guy.
I do think Canada has been incredibly underrated going into this Four Nations. I think everyone's looking at the goaltending and being like, Canada suck. It's like, well, we still have McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon.
It's pretty good.
Not Cale McCarr. Yeah, Cale McCarr.
Cale McCarr.
I kept thinking Quinn Hughes in my head.
Quinn Hughes is American.
He's American. Plays in Canada.
Sean pointed out yesterday, Oilers get a fun little advantage here, competitive advantage in the NHL with the Four Nations situation, because not only is Leon one of the superstars who's not going to be playing in this tournament, but think of all the Oilers that were left off of Team Canada. So Oilers can be well rested. They're getting their little break here. And who knows, maybe Canada doesn't even make it to the final, so Connor will be extra rested.
I hope he plays every game. And scores 4 goals.
DJ and Pete do great work over at What Chaos. We'll throw the link to their YouTube in our chat here so people can go subscribe. It's a really good show. They have a ton of fun. We always appreciate you popping on. Enjoy the game tonight. And I tell Sean, I said, go Bills.
Yes. Oh, Sean?
Go Bills.
Oh, we love you, boys. That looks incredible. So that looks incredible, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, we just moved into it. We just moved into it. We need to decorate it more. Whoa, calm down. That hurt.
I want to show it off.
We aren't allowed to put NHL jerseys in our background, so I think that would look cool because I love what you guys have. That's what we were kind of striving for, was a more relaxed couch feel. You were our inspiration.
Oh yeah. Well, Pete's idea was the jerseys in the background. Relaxing was my idea because I have bad posture, so we need to look relaxed anyway. You guys are the best. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, enjoy the game tonight. Thanks, DJ.
See ya.
Bye, boys.
DJ Bean, one half of What Chaos. Find them on YouTube. I think their account is commenting in there. There you go. We have Gene, Bob, Oilers, Jason players on our show all the time.
Yeah, go subscribe.
Go subscribe to their show. They're great.
Watch our show, then their show.
And their producer is a Bills fan.
Oh, breaking news.
Love
Campbell expects David Montgomery to be ready for divisional round.
That's crazy.
Who would have thought?
Mm-hmm.
Me. Can I give a quick shout out?
Sure.
My parents are back in the United Kingdom right now, my home nation.
Homeland.
And they're doing they're basically doing a United Kingdom tour for us and just showing my entire family our show.
Oh, nice.
So today they're at my Uncle Pete and Auntie Wendy's house.
I have an Uncle Pete too.
Maybe we have the same uncle. Probably not.
Nope.
So shout out to them and my mom and dad.
Pete and
Wendy. And
Pete and
I
Wendy.
think Connor's there as well.
Shout out Connor.
Oh, there you go. Not McDavid. That'd be nice.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, good shout out. Should we continue along?
Yeah. One other thing quickly. I know we're kind of running out of time, so I'll stop messing about. But the WHL trades just keep coming through. And Charlie Ellick, who is a Columbus Blue Jackets prospect, just got traded to the Tri-City Americans from the Brandon Wheat Kings, who traded Jordan Gavin back to Brandon, who's a former 2nd overall pick in the WHL draft. He's coming up in this year's draft. He's a crazy player too. So Western Hockey League, especially in Alberta with Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and the Hitmen. The Oil Kings are good too, but those 3 teams are going absolutely crazy doing trades at the moment.
Junior hockey trades are always
The
mind-blowing.
best.
Let's get to game notes for today because it is a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. Game notes, though, are brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated since 1972. You can apply for a Charm Diamond Flexity card today and get approved for no-interest financing on your purchase in minutes. Check out their large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds and mine diamonds by visiting them online at charmdiamondcenters.com. Liam, you got some game notes for me as Edmonton looks to beat the Boston Bruins?
Well, there was just one thing I really wanted to dial in on, to be honest, for the game notes, and it comes around Jeremy Swayman. Aaron, I know you flashed up the graphic before, but we were kind of looking through. In his last 10 games, Jeremy Swayman has allowed 25 goals against, or maybe 27 goals against, sorry. And the majority of them, 17 of them, come when he's like we couldn't really decide if he was set. They labeled it as the butterfly position.
Yeah.
And this is most of them goals. He's just like, you kind of got to just face him straight on and just shoot. This sounds very simple. Just shoot at him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just he's allowing a lot of weak ones. And one thing we noticed too is like the lack of effort, in a way you could say, is like some on a few of his saves. It didn't look very encouraging. The one shot way on the outside there, the face-off dot, was the goal that Zach Hyman scored against him, which was obviously terrible.
Crazy.
Do you have any of the highlights, Aaron?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, let's watch a few of these.
Yeah, there's a few of them. So you can kind of see it's very interesting.
Because the numbers aren't good. And then you kind of went through and you and I watched these together. The eye test isn't great. Like, okay, that one, I mean, that's
quick shot.
Yeah, Matthew Nye is a very good player. Good shot. Dead between the two face-off circles, whatever. This one I didn't think was great against the Washington Capitals, just simply because like that beats him in the middle of the net. Like he looks lazy on that.
Yeah, it looks very nonchalant, and
Nonchalant's a good way to describe him.
I don't know. Like, I know sometimes these shots happen, but we watched honestly like 6 random ones from like different ways he's been beaten, and if every single one we were like, well, that's not good, that's not good. And it wasn't the selection again, it was like just random ones in general. The other thing that seemed to be happening too, like we said, Hyman had that one where it was a bit not great. If you get any kind of traffic in front of him and you're able to get a stick on it, he's not really making much of an effort to do much to it. Like this is the Hyman one, like that. Oh, it's a terrible goal.
And it led Edmonton back in the game. They won because of that goal sparking them.
Yeah, too. So just not a great look for Swayman. This is the other one he scored. As you can see, he's kind of in his butterfly. McDavid drives the net. A bit different than the other ones, but just kind of see where he's at right now.
Yeah. Boston Bruins 20-17-5 on the year. So if you just go win-loss, they're 20-22. They have lost more than they've won so far this season. 4-4-2 in their last 10, 12-9 straight up on home ice. Their goal differential this year is a -20. Here's the head-to-heads. Edmonton's got the edge on the power play. Boston's power play just atrocious. It was brutal early in the year under Jim Montgomery. I think it turned around for a little bit under Joe Sacco, but it's kind of plateaued again. Their PK worse than Edmonton as well. They aren't scoring. Jeremy Swayman's not playing well. Like a lot of things just not going great for the Boston Bruins so far this season. Those are game notes brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers. And while we're on the topic of fast facts for this hockey game tonight, a word from our friends at Sherwood Ford.
Hey, Giant Mike here. The Oilers have won their last 4 in Boston, outscoring Boston 14-7. That's wicked hard to do.
Hey, Oilers Nation, it's Bird here from Bert's Bus out at Sherwood Ford. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 4 goals in his last 5 games, and he's now up to 10 goals on the season. Let's go!
Hey, it's David here at Sherwood Ford, and can you believe that this is the first time in Connor McDavid's career that the team has won back-to-back games without him getting a point?
The McDavid one is crazy.
That is, like, again, first time in his career. McDavid's no spring chicken anymore. He's been in the league for like 8-9 seasons.
Yeah. And what did Louis say yesterday? It's the 17th time that's happened. So that'd be 34 games, quick math, that he's not been scoring in back-to-back. And the fact that the Oilers haven't been able to win in most of them too is crazy.
Wicked hard. Shout out Giant Mike. Shout out everybody at Sherwood Ford. The Giant. Let's continue along with the program. Wanted to do, let's keep the game day talk going. Let's do our game day betting challenge for Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm going first today. I think we all lost against Anaheim, right?
We did. So I didn't update the board, Aaron, because don't like to show L's.
Yeah, no L's here.
Unnecessary L's.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know if I like this bet, but I loaded up 3 shot props thinking that, hey, all of these guys, no one's been crushing their shot props as of late. on the Edmonton Oilers, but Nuge has hit this in 4 of his last 5. I tease it down to 2 because you can use the milestones on Bet365. Darnell Nurse has done this in 3 of his last 5, 3 of his last 4, actually. And then you look at Evan Bouchard, who has also done this in 5 consecutive hockey games. Again, these guys have kind of been hitting it.
Yeah.
This mark, you got to tease it down. And I'm hesitant about this because when you tease it down, it's plus 175 and it's not juicy. I'm nervous about betting a money line. I know they've won 4 in a row in Boston. I know Boston's not playing great, but Edmonton's won 3 in a row. So it's kind of one of those like, are they due for a letdown? I don't know. This is what I have thrown together. I'm not crazy confident in it, but it's where I'm at. A 3-leg shot prop parlay, all teased down to 2 at plus 175.
They've been kind of a hard team to bet on recently.
They have been, because I always go moneyline McDavid 2 points, and it's just not working.
Well, yeah, that one definitely is not
I
working.
know.
The last couple. I went with Arvidsson goal. Obviously been playing a lot better since he come back from injury. I am leaning more towards a point for him. I'm just waiting for Bet365 to get all the lines out there. But I think Arvidsson could get going tonight. That second line clearly has been showing a lot of trust from Chris Knobloch with the fact he's changed up all these lines. Those 3 stick together. Podkolzin obviously gets a goal the other day too against Seattle. So I like this one. Plus 350 for a guy playing on your second line. If you want to get juicier, Connor Brown, I think, was plus 500.
I kind of like Connor Brown too. Someone said Arvidsson's been hitting his shot prop a lot as of late. In his 8 games since he's returned, he's only hit his shot prop 3 times.
That's less than half.
That is less than half. So that's why I didn't want to touch that one either. Someone said Podzilla goal, 3-game goal streak. Again, he does score in bunches. Jay's bet, he's still in Mexico. Draisaitl goal under 6 money line.
It's under 6.5. I just couldn't find the adjusted. So let's remember
Gotcha.
that.
Okay, Jay is under 6.5. But plus 700. Not a bad price here, actually. That feels like a game script that could hit. 4-2. Draisaitl scores his 30th of the year. Edmonton walks out with the win.
This will be, if this is a low-scoring game, it's not Edmonton who aren't scoring the goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of Boston allowed 6 to the Islanders the other night. Sorry, 5 to the Islanders, 6 to the Leafs.
Yeah.
The others can score. The other line I actually liked in here when I was looking through a little bit more, power play points, obviously somewhere I like to go. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins plus 290 to get a power play point.
Ooh.
And we just said the Bruins, special teams a bit wonky sometimes. So I like that. McDavid plus 128. Hyman plus 270. Draisaitl plus 140. Evan Bouchard plus 220. Will he finally get a power play goal?
You know what I want to look into really quick?
Tell me.
How many times has someone on the Oilers put up multiple power play points in a game?
Oh, well, when was the how many times or the last time?
How many times? Okay, so I got the answer.
All right.
It's happened 5 times this year. Draisaitl's done it twice. McDavid's done it twice.
Hyman.
And Bouchard's done it once. I was like, man, if Boston's PK sucks, Bouchard to get 2 power play points is 12-1. Draisaitl's only plus 750. McDavid's plus 625. Nugent Hyman are 15-1, but they haven't done it yet this year. I don't know. I thought maybe I'd like that more, but again, if Draisaitl and McDavid are only doing it 1 in every 20 games and you're only getting 6 or 7 or 1 on that, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with it. New lines.
Okay, let's talk about the new lines here. Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day.
It's looking like, per Daniel Nugent-Bowman, Josh Brown will check in tonight for Troy Stecher.
Josh Brown fight, lock it in.
I actually think it's pretty smart of them to bring him up.
Give
on
him
a
some.
4-game road. Well, not even
What
about
pairing
him.
is he obviously playing with? Well, yeah. Wait, what are they doing here?
Well, actually, they put out the lines, and then it was reported at 10:30. They put out lines, and then it was reported only 5 minutes ago that he'll check in. But Stecher skated on the second pair with Nurse. I would assume that's not the case. So
Yeah, but Brown's a righty.
just bump up Emberson.
I would really like to see Nurse and Emberson together.
I think that's
I would
what
like
they
to give that a
is.
chance.
Yeah.
It is?
No.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so down for that.
Josh Brown's Zadorov fight tonight, maybe. But yeah, I would be pretty tempted in Nurse Emberson, then go Brown Kulak. I don't like Josh Brown. I don't think there's very much upside there, but giving Stecher a game off, I don't see a massive problem with that. So.
No. And you're on a 4-game road trip. Just get him in a game. Hey, former Bruin, Josh Brown, right? I'm sure he was. Let me look.
Okay, you look up that, and I will tell everyone about what the rest of the lines are tonight.
Yeah.
McDavid, Connor Brown, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Top 6 is staying the same. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Henrique is on the 3rd line with Zach Hyman and Jeff Skinner. So a bit of an elevation here for Jeff Skinner after scoring the other day. Hyman stays away from the big guns in the top 6. This is the best chance Adam Henrique's going to have to play with skill. Apart from
Yeah.
putting him as a winger, if Henrique's going to be a centerman, these are probably the two best wingers he could ask for. Trying to create a third scoring line, an interesting approach when you don't have last change. I'll be very fascinated to see. That's one of those things I'll be watching very close tonight, is how that trio performs. Derek Ryan's out. Matthias Janmark's back to being the 4C. Kapanen and Perry are his wingers. The D pairings, Ekholm, Bouchard, and then we're guessing, well, I mean, we don't even know. It'll be Nurse with someone. Maybe it's Gulak. Stetcher's out. Brown's in. That's all we know. Stuart Skinner gets the start tonight. Was Josh Brown ever a Bruin?
He was. He played 6 games for them
All right.
in 2020, 1 in the playoffs, 5 penalty minutes, believe it or not. Was in the Zachary Senchism trade.
Okay.
Probably
Boston
all right.
Bruins lines. Pavel Zacha centers the top line with Morgan Geekie and David Pasternak. That trio has combined for 11 goals in their last 10 games. Elias Lindholm with Brad Marchand and Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle always seems to kill the Oilers. No factual backup for me on that. Just vibes ever since Minnesota. I remember he scored this sick goal at Rexall Place when he was a rookie for Minnesota, and he like went around and he was behind the net and like brought it in front from behind the goal line. It was sick. Trent Frederick with Ollie Wallstrom, and Justin Brazeau. Brazeau's got 4 goals in his last 10. Cole Koepke, Mark Kastelik, and John Beecher are the 4th line. Kastelik found the back of the net in that meeting earlier this year between the Bruins and Oilers. Parker Wotherspoon with Charlie McAvoy, Nikita Zadorov with Brandon Carlo, Mason Lowry with Andrew Peak are your D pairings. They're missing Hampus Lindholm, which is obviously a big piece out of the lineup because it means Parker Wotherspoon has to play top pairing minutes for the Boston Bruins. Jeremy Swayman expected to get the start tonight in the Bruins' last 10 games. Swayman is 3-3-1 with a .905 save percentage and 1 shutout. So not a bad little run by Swayman, as he's kind of doing similar to Skinner, just trying to find his ground after a really, really bad start to the season. So those are your lineups for tonight as the Oilers take on the Boston Bruins. Let's continue along a little. What's trending for our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Hit the trails this winter. The waves next summer. They're hockey fans helping hockey fans right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Whether it's boats, ATVs, motorcycles, quads, or e-bikes, they got it all at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine.
Charlie Coyle has 17 points in 30 games against the Oilers in his career.
Doesn't exactly kill him. I stand corrected.
No, but there's still
half a point per game.
I'd say that's pretty.
How many
good.
of them are goals?
7.
Okay.
So
respectable.
Yeah, that's
not
not
bad
bad
against the Oilers.
No, definitely not bad. He's a good player. I just don't know if he's anyway.
If you needed any more proof that Connor McDavid is here to stay in Edmonton, Lauren Kyle yesterday on Instagram.
Yeah.
Lauren McDavid, I suppose. I don't know what she goes by.
Stage name LK1.
Yeah, LK1. She announced launched plans for a bar, a cocktail lounge she's opening in the city. It's right in downtown Edmonton. It's in its early infancy, so I don't know when the opening date is or anything like that. This spring.
It could be anytime in March.
If you ever had a doubt Connor McDavid was leaving, if anyone ever tries to razz you, maybe a Leafs fan or a fan from another team ever says Connor's leaving next summer, because again, he has 1 more year on his deal. Lauren Kyle has her design company has an office in Edmonton.
Yep.
She is opening a bar. Leon Draisaitl signed long-term. They're best friends.
Yeah.
All of them are best friends.
They hang out.
And Jeff Jackson, his former agent, runs the team. Connor McDavid's going to be an Edmonton Oiler for his entire career.
See, and I think it might be a bar and living, because there's Bar Trove. I did this research yesterday, and Trove Living. So I'm curious if that means apartments above. Who knows? Either way, stick around.
Interesting.
Trove
Zach
Living.
Lang had a piece up on Oilersnation.com going through some of the finer details of this. That was definitely trending yesterday. You know what else was trending in my life?
The government. No.
Nope. I've
Oh,
actually been
sorry.
actively avoiding it. The TGL starts tonight.
Oh yeah, it does. I'm excited for this.
I'm all in on it. Like my
Yeah.
expectations have now gotten a little bit too high, and I'm worried it might not be as fun. If you don't know what this is and you're a golf fan like me, indoor professional golf. It's played on teams, 4v4. I think there's like a 3v3 match portion, then a 1v1 part of it. They're going to play a regular season every Tuesday live. It goes from tonight every Tuesday till March. And then they have a playoff, a bracket style playoff. They hit from 2 distances into a screen that's like 50 feet away. So depending on the shot, they got sand, they got rough, they got fairway. They have a green that can adjust for every hole. So every hole, the green will like morph and be a totally different layout. I think they can even like move the pin and stuff, which is crazy. This is going to be really cool. The players will be mic'd up. Betting on it will be sick. It's on Sportsnet. I'm very excited for this. A crowd atmosphere. You can buy tickets because it's all live. And the list of golfers is like legit.
Oh, yeah. It's the best of the best, basically.
Like the first team, AB, you had that picture actually with 4 of them. Justin Thomas is captaining the one team. Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Colin Morikawa. That's Wyndham Clark down there on the edge, and Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele's team has Ricky Fowler, Cam Young, and Matt Fitzpatrick. Like an unbelievable group. That Ludwig Auberg is on the Bay team, the team in teal there with Wyndham Clark. Like this is going to be sick. It starts tonight. I'm very excited for it.
I didn't actually know this was happening, so you brought it up on O&R the other week. But I think I'll tune in after after Oilersnation Radio, after O&R. Oh my goodness, after the Oilers game.
There you go. Let's wrap up. It's a game day, so keys to victory brought to you by our friends at Greta, right in the heart of downtown Edmonton. A great spot pregame, postgame, or for a road game. Just watch the whole thing there. The TV setup is great. The food is great. The bar is great. The arcade games give you endless intermission fun. Shout out to Greta. Key to victory tonight, Liam.
My key to victory tonight is, I think, going to be the power play.
Okay.
Boston, obviously, not the best special teams. So the Oilers, for me, I think if they can take over the power play, then they'll be fine. I was going to say depth scoring, but like when you have Skinner and Hyman on your third line, they should score. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it lame of me to say that the key to victory tonight is Connor McDavid?
No.
Listen, they've won back-to-back games without him getting a point. The depth on this team has been doing their thing. Stuart Skinner's been playing well as of late. The defense has been holding strong. But at some point, if they're going to go on an extended heater, it's going to need to be Connor getting going. Last time the Oilers played the Bruins, the lines were a little bit in a blender, and then they actually had to go to the big 3 with Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman, which sparked the comeback. Yeah, run it back tonight. Connor McDavid, carry the boys to victory. He gets he's my key to victory tonight. You won 2 in a row for the first time in his career without him getting a point. I don't think you can win 3 in a row. You need 97 to step up big time this evening. That is my key to victory. Aaron will have more on the game tonight when he goes live at 4 o'clock pre-gaming with Bordsy. Who you got with you tonight?
Zachary Lang.
Zach Lang in the building for pre-gaming with
And our new
Bordsy.
intern.
And Reese will be kicking around. Yes, our new intern. Post-game live immediately following the final buzzer. That is a wrap on a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of Oilers Nation every day. Shout out to DJ Bean for swinging by and chatting with us for a little bit. Tomorrow, Frank Saravalli will be around, and hopefully all of you in the YouTube will be around as well. Enjoy the hockey game tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Mountain Time, to break it all down. Oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation every day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit Oilersnation.com.